This is my review of the Rising of the Shield Hero, Episode 13. So before I begin, I just want to say I have lost all hope that the Spear Hero is going to be redeemed at any point ever. I mean, in this episode, he basically turned into a pedophile trying to grab the little girl in chains, which... so much wrong with that! So, from this day forward, I'm going to refer to him as the Pedo Hero, or the Pedophile Hero. It feels a far more apt description of him than to call him the Spear Hero at this point. So this episode just started hilariously for me, with the knights just overacting so much. Fellow knights, justice is on our side! And then just falling to the ground in exaggerating fashions, clutching their necks, pretending to lay dead on the ground, all while being recorded. To me, this is just hilarious, how they just kept overacting, trying to play up the role so they could edit the footage to make it look like they were really dead. But that does raise a very important question. Were they killed after this? Like, when they got back to the kingdom, did Mayim just take them to the back corner and just murder them? Because they're dead, officially. I mean, there's footage of them being murdered, being spread out the entire kingdom. And I'm going to assume at least some people in the kingdom know these people. And if they ever see them again, they're going to be like, hey, didn't you die? I'm pretty sure we all saw footage of you dying. I mean, maybe they could be just sent to some far-off region or something, but sooner or later, someone's going to recognize them and wonder, aren't you dead? Why aren't you dead? But I was wrong about one thing in my review last week. They aren't doing this for some kind of big cash reward or land or women or whatever you bribe soldiers with. They're doing it because of their religion. The Three Heroes Church is literally a church that worships the sword, spear, and bow hero, and thinks the shield hero is the devil himself. Which makes a certain amount of sense, given his rage mode, but I just have so many questions about this religion. So it's a religion that worships the three heroes. Do they think the heroes are gods? Do they think they will grant them salvation? When they pray, do they pray to the heroes? When they see the heroes in the street, do they beg to be touched that they may receive their healing grace and divine protection? Is this in worship of all the heroes that have come in the past, or is it just the current generation of heroes, or is it to the weapons themselves, or the first heroes? What the frick are they worshipping? What are they praying for? I mean, they have nuns and a pope, people who have dedicated their entire lives and existence to the worship of these three people, and I am just so confused about that. Why? I mean, Mayim is apparently a devout follower, or at least using the followers, but she has clearly seen the Spear Hero as an idiot. I mean, she's seen all the heroes as people who can be easily manipulated, fools, but she's literally seen her god, in a sense, trying to go after a little child, being a complete pedophile and a moron who's just absolutely gullible, and yet she is still so loyal to this church that she's willing to murder her own sister and frame the shield hero just to put an end to him, just to make the entire world hate him even more. I mean, seriously, I need like an entire episode that just explains what these people are, what do they worship, what do they expect to get out of it, and why the heck is there people who decide to dedicate their entire lives to this worship. I mean, yes, the heroes are strong, but I definitely wouldn't classify them as gods by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, it may be possible that the church is more about human supremacy, and they see the three heroes as like the ultimate form of humans, like as high and as powerful as they can be. Therefore, they are proof that demi-humans are below them because they can't be heroes. They can never achieve that level of perfection. I don't know, it's certainly bizarre. Alright, anyway, moving on. Then we get a new opening, and there certainly seems to be a lot of focus on water and boats and an underwater dragon hourglass. I'm curious if this is going to be the next big arc in the series. They have to race to get to the next dragon hourglass, which is underwater, and there's some kind of great treasure there. They need to upgrade all of their legendary weapons. But we also got to see Melty in the opening, which is interesting. She's teaming up with the sword hero and Raph and Philo to help them out, which to me certainly implies that she's going to be a main part of the team from now on. even if they do manage to clear the Shield Hero's name, I feel like she's gonna stick around for a while, just to help him out, just to keep fighting in the waves. I mean, mine may not be the next in line for the throne, but she's still a princess, and she's still fighting in the waves, trying to save the people, or just make the Spear Hero look good. Right, from there we see the magic users chanting over the magic ball and altering the footage, and I really have to say I think they went too far with this. They used a mean person filter to twist their eyes and give them dark lines of their faces to make them look like they're villains. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Not to mention just the absolute blood splatter that came flying out of everyone when they were even lightly touched. I mean, they were trying too hard with that to make it look like they were evil. And then, oh my freaking god, the wanted posters? Seriously? I don't even think if a Shield Hero was standing next to that poster, anyone would recognize him, because it looks absolutely ridiculous. So overly exaggerated, it's insane. Alright, so then we are with Melty joining the Shield Hero for the time being. She's still in absolute denial that her father would have anything to do with trying to have her killed, and I have to agree with her on this one. It seems unlikely. I mean, maybe if he was being, really threatened or blackmailed or something, he would do it with a heavy heart, but I certainly found it interesting we didn't see him at all in this episode. I figured the whole magic Gorb thing was to, for his benefit, to show him, oh, look what the Shield Hero did, we need to stop him, and then get him to order out the troops, but we didn't see him, which still leaves some ambiguity about what his role is in all this, and is he aware of what's happening. And we also got more of Melty being just really, really stupid. I know she's a kid, but she's just really stupid sometimes. She tried to convince him to go talk to her father one more time, after the entire world basically thinks that he kidnapped the king's daughter, and raped the other daughter. I mean, that is literally the stupidest idea I've ever heard, until she then said she was going back to the kingdom. Yes, the kingdom where at least 20 of her own guards just try to have her murdered. She thinks she'll be safe there. She thinks she'll manage to make it back to the capital and be hunky-dory fine. Yeah, no, that's not going to work. If you went back, you would die. But thankfully, the Shield Hero is still a hero. He promised her that if she stayed by his side, he would keep her safe. Same promise he's made to Philo and Wrath. He will protect his party, and that really defines him as the Shield Hero, Right, so then as the borders were all closed up, they decide that they need to go over the mountain in order to get to the neighboring kingdom. But sadly, they had to leave behind their wagon, which honestly, that was a heartbreaking scene for me. I know a lot of you might not have thought too much of it, but that's been Philo's entire world since basically she was born. She's always had that wagon. She's always pushed it. She loves the wagon. It's basically her home. And just to leave it behind is just so sad for her. I really do hope that sooner or later they end up coming back for it. I mean, if it's damaged and tattered, I still think it'd be worth it to repair it just because of how much it means to Philo. And then we move on to the cave, and Melty and the Shield Hero are going back and forth, and she's very confused about what happened between the Shield Hero and her father, and I'm really curious if she actually knows what happened with Mine accusing him of rape and all that, or if she's just referring to this one event where her father basically threatened the rest of his party and demanded he tell him everything about his newfound abilities. We then finally get some information about the Queen, and this was very interesting to me. Not only is the Queen more powerful than the King, but the King wasn't even born a prince. I'm assuming he was born a nobleman, or hell, maybe even a peasant, and then he somehow managed to convince the Queen to marry him. I'm not entirely sure how. There might be more good to him we haven't seen yet, or it might have just been a political marriage trying to tie together the kingdom with or something. I'm really not sure why she would choose to marry him, but hopefully we see more good in him down the road. Like I said, I don't think he's responsible for all of the Shield Hero's issues. But yeah, Nefumi is really amused by this just because of how absolutely arrogant the king has been in all their encounters. He just assumed that, he'd been born a royal prince with a silver spoon up his butt. I would certainly like some flashbacks to how the king was before he married into the royal line. Was he as arrogant? Was he a much more calm, kind person? Heck, if he was like a potato farming peasant in the beginning, I'd love an entire series just on that. Seeing his old life, how he rose up to the ranks, how he married the freaking queen, and now acts like he's the king of the world. Alright, so from there, the shield hero is quickly surrounded by the other 3 heroes. Well, 2 heroes. I wouldn't really call the third one a hero anymore. And Melty tries to tell them all that she's perfectly fine. And the spear hero does not believe it. Bow hero is a little questioning, but the sword hero seems to take it all with strides. I've thought for a while he'd probably be the first person to come around to shield hero's side, and he could be a very good ally, which this episode definitely seemed to confirm for me. So yeah, the Melty tries giving her whole speech that this isn't the time to fight against one another. We have to work together and team up to save our kingdom, and that seems to work for a brief moment, but then mine showed up and everything went to hell. She claimed the devil has, now they're just straight up calling him the devil, has a brainwashing shield, which, so much wrong with that. To start off with, she said they can control one's mind just by talking to them. Even if it doesn't work on the other heroes, if he had that power, he would literally just have taken over the entire kingdom by now. He could have controlled entire villages. Hell, he could have controlled the freaking king when he was having a meeting with him, and had him named the new royal king or something. She definitely shouldn't have played as being that powerful. She should have said, it's a shield that lets him control anyone he touches, or a shield that allows him to control people. By saying, just by talking to them, she's really overemphasizing his power and putting some holes in her big plan. But it is a good plan, I will give her that. Not only is there no way to prove that it isn't true, but then she goes on to explain that anyone who is actually backing up the shield hero, all the heretics who have been worshipping over the past few months as the savior of the Heavenly Fowl, well, he didn't really help them. No, he just brainwashed them in order to try and overthrow the entire kingdom. That's been his master plan. Once again, though, he never actually called himself the savior of the Heavenly Fowl. That's what other people refer to him as. And it's fairly obvious bow hero and sword hero aren't entirely buying this, but spear hero, or pedo hero, as I'm calling him from now on, is loving this, because this means he was right all along. Raph and Philo are being brainwashed. There's no way they would really want to work with him. He's evil and mean and horrible, and he tortures them, and he keeps them locked up. But anyway, then Sword Hero comes in, and he really tries to do his best right here, and I love him for it. And he promises that he'll keep an eye on Melty, make sure she doesn't get harmed, make sure she's safe. And then Mine tries to seduce him, hold on tight, squeeze against him, and tell him that he's right, and Melty's safety comes first. And I love him right now because he's just not buying this shit from her. I mean, you can tell from his expression that her seduction isn't working on him at all, because he's smarter than the Spear Hero, and he can already tell that there's something wrong with her right here. But yeah, even with his protection, Melty knows if she goes back, she'll be killed. And the Shield Hero basically just says this. He accuses Mine, rightly so, of just trying to kill her sister so she can take over to become the crown princess, and somehow none of the other heroes seem to have actually thought of that. They never seem to realize that Mine would take over if anything happened to Melty, which, yeah, again, just further proof that they are a little bit slow sometimes. So then they escape on Philo, and obviously they'll be able to get away because she's super fast, but nope. The pedophile hero puts her in chains. Seriously. I mean, just look at him. Look at him going to her. That is not the look of a hero. I mean, he's groping her, he's holding her down, he's literally putting her in chains to keep her cute and his forever. Remember when he had a whole issue with slavery? Whole issue with Shield Hero keeping slaves that was wrong and evil and immoral? Yeah, he just put a girl in chains so he can keep her forever. So much wrong with that! Oh my freaking god, I had hopes. I had high hopes for this Spear Hero, you know, once Mine's true motives were uncovered, he would be turned around, he would help them out, he would have like a good, friendly relationship with Philo. Nope, not anymore. He deserves to die. He is a freaking stupid pedophile, and Jesus freaking Christ. No more. I mean, seriously, later on, when Mine is literally trying to murder her own sister, and the other heroes are all shocked and horrified and disgusted, he's attempting to grope Philo. What the freak is wrong with this man? Okay, death to the Spear Hero, death to the Pedo Hero. Just please, let's be rid of this man. Right, anyway, then Melty uses her magic to threaten the spear hero into letting Philo go, and he's surprised by that, but apparently this warning attack against someone else was all the justification that Mai needed to attempt to murder her own sister. Even Sword and Bow Hero at this point realized something's not right here. I mean, her justification is literally, if we can't undo her brainwashing, she'll have to die. What effort have you made to undo her brainwashing? Literally nothing. You have not tried anything. You haven't brought any sorcerers. You haven't tried any magical potions or anything. You literally decided their brainwashing was irreversible so that she could be killed. And you're just hoping everyone will be fine with that justification and name you the new queen. Meanwhile, as I said, Pedo Hero is attempting to grope a little girl while another little girl is about to be murdered. Please die. Anyways, then Raph makes good use of her new mana sword and stabs Mine through the chest, which doesn't really seem to do anything. I mean, it shocks her and it stops her from using her spell, but that's about it. So, weird. I'm not sure if this somehow drained her mana so she couldn't cast any more spells, or if it puts him in a lock on her abilities or something, but it didn't really seem to do all that much. Philo also made use of her little gift and punched the spear hero very far away, which he deserved, and that was beautiful to watch. Anyway, from there, the sword and bow hero are trying to stop the soldiers from killing the crown princess, and they are not listening to them. They're literally just getting knocked around. I mean, I had high hopes for the sword hero realizing his mistake here, but the bow hero was literally just knocked to the ground by soldiers rushing forward to murder a little girl. I think he has to realize at this point, are we the bad guys here? So then the shield hero manages to escape, and before he does, he gives the rosary to the sword hero and tells him, I know you'll be able to figure out what's really going on here. Which, honestly, I think was a great move on his part, and if I was the sword hero, I think the first place I'd go is the town with the dragon zombie. And if he can go there and confirm what the shield hero was saying, and that the people weren't being brainwashed, that's basically all the proof he needs to fully believe the shield hero and to uncover what the church is actually plotting. Again, bow hero, I have hopes for him, but I'm not sure if he's going to be fully on the shield hero's side quite yet. I do think he has a certain amount of trust for the sword hero, and he will help him out, back him up as need be. Thankfully, Naofumi managed to take the lock off Philo's leg, which I was really worried that'd just be stuck on her for a couple episodes, with her not being able to transform and have to relying on her super-powered punches now to be useful in combat, but no, thankfully there was just an easy disarmament. We then see one of these shadows show up, an espionage squad under the Queen's direct control, which makes a lot more sense now that we know that the Queen is actually the head of the state, not just equal authority with the King. She's literally in control of the entire kingdom. That's why she has an espionage unit directly under her control, feeding her information and making sure her will is followed through. But as it turns out, this is also the woman who tried to warn the shield hero last episode. And she informs the shield hero that the Queen wants to see him, which, interesting. I had expected for a while now the shield hero was going to have to go save the Queen and free her from her captivity or whatever is going on with her, but now that's apparently their big destination. Go to the Queen and find out what she has to say. It certainly seemed like she knew more about the waves and the heroes than anyone else, and she's not a follower of the Church of the Three Heroes, because very interesting scene where Melty just insists that the shield hero call her by her name instead of second princess. And what I love about this scene is Raph is actually jealous. She's jealous. They're already calling each other by their first names, which I thought was just absolutely adorable. I mean, I love Raph and Shield Hero together, but Shield Hero and Melty? Shield Hero marrying in and becoming the next king? I like that! She's a little young now, so it'd be more of a political marriage than anything else, but I think it'd certainly be interesting. We then move on and see Mine burning down an entire forest for some reason. I have three main thoughts on this. One, she's trying to frame the shield hero's rage shield as being this uncontrollable force that burns down forests and further proof why he's the devil. Two, she's trying to smoke him out, cut off his exit point so he has to go the way she wants him to. Or 3, she's just pissed as hell and wants to blow off some steam by killing a bunch of wild animals. Honestly, number 3 seems very likely right now. Alright, and that was episode 13. Certainly an interesting episode. Milty has officially joined the party, and she uses water magic, so that's very, very useful. Mine uses fire magic, which, of course, she does. And I feel like next episode is going to be them working their way to the Queen. I kind of doubt they'll actually find her next episode. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of steps along the way, and people they need to kill, and all sorts of other stuff they need to do in order to actually track her down and free her from her castle or whatever. I am hoping Sword Hero makes some moves, talking to the various villagers who have been quote-unquote brainwashed into loving the Shield Hero. I mean, literally, if he just talks to them and they say, oh yeah, he brought the medicine, but I had to pay him a lot of money to do it, I think that's going to be proof enough that they aren't actually being brainwashed. Because if he was brainwashing them, he'd just make them love him. He wouldn't create this whole backstory where they actually had to pay him tons of money. At least that's my own thoughts on it. Bow Hero, I mean, I have high hopes for him joining around, trusting Sword Hero's judgment on this. And hopefully we get a better explanation on the Church of the Three Heroes and the Mana Sword, because I really don't know what that was supposed to do. It didn't seem to actually do anything except briefly stun her and stop her from casting her spell. So yeah, that was weird. Honestly, at this point, I'm really curious what would happen if the Sword Hero just said, you know what, I'm going to go join the Shield Hero. I think he's right, I think you're wrong. I mean, would they lock him up? I certainly don't think they can fight off all the waves with just 2 heroes. I mean, he's the Sword Hero. That's basically their best attacker. And if he turns against them, they really have no choice but to do nothing, because if they fought him and killed him or whatever, the waves would essentially destroy them. Unless they went around and killed the other 3 heroes, so they could summon new heroes, but again, that's a pretty drastic step. Alright, so let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Like and subscribe, and until next week, peace!